Welcome to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathy of Elite Income Advisors. And to our viewers at home, we're going to talk about some common misconceptions that people face when they're entering the retirement years. So stay tuned for today's topic. Prashant, how are you today?
I am doing very well. Thanks. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much
Good.
for asking. And I'm just so excited about today's show because obviously when people are entering their retirement years, it's always nice to have a plan. You have an idea. And, you know, thanks to the internet, you can pretty much Google anything right now.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times that information that comes out can be great, but sometimes not so great. So let's talk a little bit about that. People are planning for their retirement years, but then there are some misconceptions. Let's dive into the first one. Number one, how much you will actually spend and how fast you'll spend it in your retirement. And we're going to talk about the 4% rule.
Yeah, so two components to this first misconception is how much am I actually going to spend? I think the old kind of way of thinking was you should be able to retire with about 60 to 70% of the income that you had while you were working. And what we're finding with our clients is that's simply not the case. In fact, what we're finding is most of our clients like to spend even more in retirement than they were while they were working. So it's not about recreating 60 to 70% of your income. It's about recreating 100% of your income in retirement. And so the next part of that is how do we actually go about doing that? And Cynthia, you just brought up the 4% rule. So just to recap, the 4% rule was this old retirement planning rule of thumb that said when I retire, I should take my retirement balances. So let's say it's $1 million. And I can multiply that number by 4%. And that's how much income I could reliably withdraw from my portfolio and have a really good shot that I wouldn't run out of money over a 30-year retirement. Now, what's happened is people have started to change from this 4% rule to maybe 3.5% or even 3%. That's because changes in the interest rate environment, changes with market volatility have made it a heck of a lot less predictable to just withdraw 4%. The other thing is people are living longer.
True.
And with people are living longer, we want to try to increase the amount of certainty when it surrounds your income as we possibly can. So with that being said, what we're finding with the 4% rule is that it's not always the best way to plan for your income in retirement. I think the best way to do it in today's day and age is take advantage of all the different tools that are out there that allow you to actually bucket your money, create guaranteed income for the rest of your life, and invest your money in the stock market so that it can grow for you in a meaningful way. It's about having buckets of money that are incredibly diverse, and ultimately what it leads to is a lifetime of income security, which is something that I talk about all the time.
Which is so very important for your retirement years. Prashant, the next one, retirement misconception number 2, believing that you can live off less in retirement than you did while working. And let's talk about that because when you're retired, Prashant, isn't every day a Saturday?
Absolutely.
And when do you spend the most money?
I certainly spend the most money on Saturdays, right? And then Sundays are next, and then the weekdays, right? And so when every day is a weekend, a Saturday, you have to think that your spending is actually going to increase. Think about all the things that you didn't get to do because you had the job that you had to report for every Monday through Friday, whether it was traveling to Europe, maybe it was doing one of those river cruises, maybe it was volunteering or giving back to the community in a way that was meaningful for you. All these things are things that you didn't get to do while you were working. And now that you have more free time in retirement, it's inherent to think that you'll actually spend more money in pursuit of some of those things that are going to make your retirement as fulfilling as possible. You know, I was doing an annual review with a client the other day, and she had just retired about 6 months ago. And I asked her, I said, so how's it been in retirement for you? And she said, Prashant, I'm busier in retirement than I ever was while I was working.
Wow.
And as a result, my spending habits have changed. Now, she's been a saver her entire lifetime. She's been diligently putting money away in her 401k, IRA, TSP. She used to work for the federal government. And what we're finding now is that we thought her spending would be about $6,000 a month when she retired. She came in for her review with me the other day, and she told me she's spending an average of $7,500 per month. And I asked her, why do you think that is? And she said, because I'm just so busy and I want to do so many different things. And all of those things cost a heck of a lot more than I ever anticipated. So now what we're having to do is we're having to adjust her retirement plan to create a little bit more income for her to fill that extra $1,500 a month income gap that she now has. And luckily she did a fantastic job saving. So we were able to actually reallocate some of her money to create more of a steady paycheck to fill in that $1,500 a month gap. But look, you will spend more in retirement, especially if you've been a saver for your entire life. It's time to kind of spend a little bit, enjoy yourself, and that's typically what leads to that fulfilling version of retirement.
You don't want to just get by. You want to thrive. You want to enjoy. You want to travel. You want to spoil the grandkids. I mean, there's a lot.
Absolutely.
So this next one for Sean, underestimating how long you will live. That's one of the other common misconceptions that people have. Underestimating the amount of time they'll live, if you will.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, when we design retirement plans, I mean, my goal is to try to get you into a retirement plan that allows you to live to 95 or 100 years old. Now, does that mean that every person's going to get there? Absolutely not. But I can't tell you how many times people come in and they say, just make my plan work until 75 or 80 years old because of family history concerns or health concerns. I don't think I'm ever going to make it beyond 80. And then what happens is we realize that people are living longer.
Yes.
And it's not just about living longer, it's also about the added cost of living longer, not just in day-to-day expenditures, but in healthcare expenditures. For our viewing audience who knows about my personal situation, my mom was in a long-term care situation for the better part of 5 or 6 years where it required around-the-clock care. At first, it was $4,000 a month, then it went to $6,000 a month, and by the end, before she passed away, it was $10,000 per month, Cynthia.
Wow.
And the challenge that I see a lot of Americans face is that they were told to put all their money into things like 401ks and IRAs. All that money is tax deferred. And so now when you need $10,000 a month, how much do you need to withdraw from your 401k to net the $10,000 a month that you need?
Exactly.
14, 15,000?
Yeah.
Because you have to pay the IRS somewhere along the way. And when you're taking $15,000 a month out of your portfolio, even if you've done a great job saving and you have $2 or $3 million, one market crash can be totally catastrophic to your situation. So maybe you're sitting at home thinking, oh, I believe that misconception to be true, and now I'm maybe realizing that I haven't thought this out fully. Great opportunity, folks, for you to pick up the phone, give my team a call at Elite Income Advisors. It's 833-308-5200. Now, here's what's going to happen. When you call us, our team of operators is standing by. They're going to be ready to book you into our calendar. When you come into the office to visit with our team of specialists, here's what's going to happen. Number one, there's absolutely nothing that you can buy. You're coming in to just have a conversation about your retirement concerns and your situation. My team will take in your concerns, will listen to what you have to say, and will help you address those concerns by putting together a Retire Smart roadmap. We'll help you map out where your income is going to come from each and every year for the rest of your lifetime. We'll adjust that income for both taxes and inflation, and then we'll also do a comprehensive risk analysis of your retirement accounts. We'll show you whether or not we think you're taking too much risk at this stage of your retirement timeline. We'll even put together a complimentary bucketing analysis for you, show you how using multiple buckets of money could lead to a lifetime of income security. When you dial that phone number, schedule that appointment. As an added bonus, you can either scan the QR code or visit retiremaryland.com, and you'll get a free copy of my book, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. Phone lines are open. Pick up the phone, give us a call, and we'll see you at one of our offices here in Ellicott City sometime soon.
Prashant, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, you don't want to miss the opportunity to grab your very own copy of Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. This is such an amazing book, and it's written so easy for you to understand. It's a pleasure to read, and I think you'll find something amazingly informative in each and every chapter. This is your opportunity to grab your copy today by scheduling that consultation. That number, 833-308-5200, Or if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to the landing page for Elite Income Advisors, and you can claim your spot accordingly and also receive a copy of this wonderful book. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Retire Smart Maryland. We're talking all about planning for your retirement. Stay tuned. We'll be right back momentarily.
Before COVID, we were around 4 or 5 people.
It's a pretty tight-knit team that we have.
But now we are growing, and we have about 14 people right now.
It's really 4 or 5 advisors and 4 or 5 support folks, plus an accountant, CPA.
What I'm trying to really create is the family place that everyone loves what they do and enjoys helping the client. My parents, when they had their own company with my father, everybody liked to work because he liked to take care of the people, he likes to help the people, and I'm trying to establish the same thing in our company.
It's very much a team kind of family-like culture at our company. You know, we hang out outside of work. We care a lot about each other's personal lives as well.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Prashant Sabapathy of Elite Income Advisors, and we're talking about some of the common misconceptions that people have when it comes to planning their retirement. We have a few more to get through. So Prashant, this next one, misconception number 4, you won't be working past age 65. How long will you work?
Yeah, I think this is a misconception because back in the day, full retirement age for Social Security participants was 65 years old. And even under current law today, Medicare kicks in at 65. So we think, hey, we're transitioning to Social Security, we're transitioning to the government's healthcare system, which is Medicare. And that all happens at 65, so I won't have to work beyond 65 years old. But what has happened is if you were born 1960 or later, the full retirement age has actually been raised to 67 years old, which that indicates the point in time where you can collect 100% of your earned Social Security benefit without any penalties. And so what we're finding is that people oftentimes work beyond the age of 65 to try to max out their Social Security and at least collect 100% of it. Now, here's what I think is going to happen, Cynthia, is I think that Social Security will continue to raise the full retirement age, just my opinion. And I think that because we've had politicians come out and say that that's what they want to do.
Right.
Number 2, we have a huge national debt crisis that we're dealing with. Unfunded liabilities on Social Security and Medicare are absolutely through the roof. And the only way to kind of close that loop is to increase tax revenue, which is going to be done by forcing people to work longer. So I think this idea of just being able to retire when you're 65 is a bit of a misconception. I think you will see people being forced to work longer to accumulate more retirement savings, concerted effort on the part of the government to get people to pay more in taxes. And I think that we have to prepare for that. Now, one way you can prepare for that is map out your income as soon as possible. The key to actually being able to retire early is understanding how you're going to recreate that paycheck that you had while you're working. How do I recreate that in retirement when I'm not working? The sooner you can answer that question, the quicker you can retire.
Makes sense.
It's like that simple to me. And that's my primary focus when I meet with people is first, let's figure out where your paycheck is going to come from and with what degree of certainty is that paycheck going to be there for you when you actually get to retirement age.
And I know, Prashant, you're so passionate about education and making sure that people really understand that they are ready to retire when they come in and sit with you, because we've talked about this in the past. Minding the gap. So sometimes there's that gap between your transitioning from the working years into the retirement years, and you help make sense of all of it so that people are in the best possible shape.
Yeah, I think it's just so important to understand how to transition properly from working to retirement. And there's really 3 kind of cornerstones, as I see it, to retirement planning. Number 1 is understanding your income. We've talked a lot about that on today's show. Number 2 is managing your risks, whether it's the risk of losing your spouse prematurely if you're married, the risk of potentially the market crashing, the risk of higher inflation than we were expecting. All these are risks that we have to deal with. So risk management is the second cornerstone. And then number 3 is tax management. I mean, look, I think income taxes are going to go up. Just my opinion, but all the tea leaves seem to indicate that income taxes are going to go up. And I always say you can't spend gross income, you can only spend net. And the challenge is when taxes go up, net income goes down. When net income goes down, you have to go dip into your retirement savings more than you were expecting to meet the quality of lifestyle that you were accustomed to having, and that, quite frankly, you planned to have. So you have to be prepared with these 3 cornerstones of retirement planning: income generation, risk management, tax management is how we go about doing that.
And I love that you just brought that up, because that's actually the next one on the list, how much money you'll actually pay in taxes in your retirement years. Because I think so often you hear people say, oh, my taxes, they're going to go down because I'm going to be having less money come in, so I'm going to obviously pay less taxes. But that's not exactly correct.
No, it's not. I mean, it's what we all thought would be the case when we put the money in the 401k and the IRA and the TSP. We did that so we can get the tax deduction up front and then pay lower taxes down the road. The issue is that we're in a partnership with the IRS, right? It's a partnership that we have with the IRS. And the unfortunate part is that we're the minority partners and they're the majority partners, which means they get to control the tax policy. We were planning to pay a lower tax rate in retirement, but because politicians ran up this national debt, were not responsible about it, they're going to be forced to increase taxes, in my opinion, to deal with the deficit issues that they've created. The problem, as I see it, is we don't actually know what that future tax rate is going to look like. I mean, top tax rate today is 37%. Under the old tax code, we were at 39.6%. What happens if they start to increase taxes and your retirement tax rate goes from 22% today to 32% or 35% 5 or 10 years from now?
Yeah.
What does that mean for you? It means that there's less income in your pocket. And anytime there's less income in your pocket, I view that as a form of inflation that erodes your purchasing power. So look, I think that we have to be prepared for these things. And oftentimes the solution is adding as much income into your plan as possible. Cynthia, I have never once had a client come in and say to me, Prashant, I have way too much income. I'm not sure what to do. How dare you build me too much income into my retirement plan? It's never happened. Now, people do come in and say, I do have a lot of income and thus I'm paying a lot of taxes. But they never come in and say, you built in too much income into my retirement plan. I don't know what to do. I'm struggling. It just never happens, right? So the answer to inflation, the answer to erosion of your purchasing power is to increase your income to the point where that stuff has less of an impact on your overall retirement. Okay, folks, if your advisor is not talking to you about the threat of higher tax rates in retirement, of inflation being sustained at 3.5%, 4.5%, come on in, visit with us, take a look at your own customized Retire Smart roadmap. That phone number, 833-308-5200. That's 833-308-5200. You dial that phone number. You will be able to secure one of those free appointments with our team of specialists. You come in to visit with us, we'll help you map out your income, help you optimize your Social Security so that you're collecting it at the right time for you. Most importantly, we'll show you how protecting some of your retirement investment could lead to a lifetime of income security. And then we'll also do that risk analysis and tax analysis. It'll help you understand how much risk you're taking and whether or not you are at unnecessary risk of taxes eroding your retirement income. All of that is totally complimentary. It starts with that phone call, 833-308-5200, or you can scan the QR code that you see on your screen.
Prashant, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, that number to call is 833-308-5200. And if you're sitting in the viewing audience and you're asking yourself, do I have one of these common misconceptions about my retirement planning? And the answer is yes. this is the perfect opportunity for you to take advantage of this complimentary consultation. Find out how much risk you're actually taking. Find out how much taxes you could be paying in retirement. The number to call, 833-308-5200, or better still, if you have your smartphone, it's even easier. Just go ahead, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Elite Income Advisors landing page, and you can claim your spot accordingly. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Retire Smart Maryland. Don't go anywhere. I have so much more with Prashant when we return.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
And welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, joined today by Prashant Sabapathy of Elite Income Advisors, and we're talking all about retirement planning. We're going to talk a little bit about a survey that was done recently in this segment. Prashant, this is very alarming. It says that basically since 2018, we have not seen confidence dip so low about the overall plan and thought for retirement from the people that were interviewed. So it's really interesting. Both workers and retirees report high concerns about inflation and its impact on their savings and spendings. And again, these levels have not been seen since 2018 with the nervousness that people are feeling. Why is that?
I think three things contribute to a negative sentiment as it comes to retirement preparedness. Okay, number one, you mentioned it, it's inflation. We've seen for years now inflation be higher in the last 3 or 4 years than we've seen in the last decade before that. And that is a concern. I mean, we all feel it. You go to the grocery store, you go to the gas pump, you go to the retail stores, and everything costs more. Even things like auto insurance, home insurance. I mean, Cynthia, you've probably noticed this as well.
Everything.
Costs are going up. And when you transition to living life on a fixed income, Social Security, maybe you have a pension, maybe you have an annuity that's providing you payments each and every month. When you have uncertainty regarding price stability, it creates more stress. So inflation has to be the number one concern. Look, number two is market volatility.
Yes.
I mean, we've seen now through COVID in 2020, again in 2022, market sell-offs that are really scary to go through. And what that does is it creates panic. And I think the worst decision that you can make through a market downturn is to panic and make the wrong decision at the wrong time, which inhibits your ability to recover. And so inflation and market volatility are the two things I think that are causing some of that uncertainty. But then number three, I think with pensions starting to go away and not being offered through employers anymore, I think income insecurity is another big thing, right? Like, you know, when my father retired, he got a pension for the rest of his lifetime. And no matter what happens in the stock market, he's got Social Security to count on. He's got a pension that he can count on. And that's great for him. For most of us today who do not have a pension, you got to ask the question, where is my income actually going to come from? Okay, if you don't have a pension, the burden of responsibility, quite frankly, has shifted. It's shifted from the employer to you, the employee, to create your own income in retirement. The question is, are you going to be able to rely on a stock market that's incredibly volatile to create that income, or do you need to use alternative income sources? I'll tell you what, these annuities that are out there today, I mean, I know a lot of people have opinions on annuities. Here's my opinion, and I'm very upfront about this, is I believe that sometimes an annuity can be one of the best things to create income security. Now, here's what I'm not saying, Cynthia. I'm not saying that everyone should take all their money and put it into an annuity.
Right.
Very rarely is putting all your eggs in any one basket the right thing to do.
Right.
But I've shared this example before. I had someone come in who was 60 years old. They were 5 years away from retiring, and they wanted to create an extra $4,000 a month of income from their retirement portfolio. Had about $1.5 million saved for retirement. What I helped them do is take $500,000, and we funded an indexed annuity, and with 5 years of waiting before we touched that annuity for income, it would provide them exactly the $48,000 that they needed, guaranteed every single month, every single year, for the rest of not just one spouse's lifetime, but both spouses' lifetime. And what that allowed us to do with the remaining $1 million they had is invested in the market for growth without having the uncertainty of the market going down. And that's how you create an efficient retirement portfolio. It's not about growing money. It's about creating the highest level of income using the money that you've already saved. And I think that's why diversification, bucketing, and creating reliable income is so very important when you get there.
Sure, absolutely. And Prashant, only a couple minutes left of today's episode, but I want to talk about debt level. People are really nervous about how much debt they're carrying right now.
And I think rightly so. It's just a piggyback of the inflation conversation, right? When wages don't keep up with inflation, what happens is people start to put things on credit cards. They start to take personal loans.
Of course.
And when some of these rates are 17, 21, 26% on these loans, it makes it nearly impossible to get yourself out of debt. So one thing that you have to prioritize is debt reduction before you get to retirement. Now, my big thing is debt only becomes an issue in the absence of income to service that debt.
It's true.
But what we're finding is that higher interest debt, you can't create the type of income that you need to properly service that debt. So what you have to look at are debt reduction opportunities between now and retirement, so that when you get to retirement, all your income goes to the things that you want it to go to, not to some corporate credit card company that is getting rich off of the debt that you've accumulated. If you've never put together a debt reduction plan, if you've never mapped out where your income is going to come from, just pick up the phone, give us a call. Last opportunity, folks, for today's show. It's 833-308-5200. Learn about how you can gain income security in retirement. Ask yourself, where is your paycheck going to come from? If you already know where your paycheck's coming from, you don't need to call us. But for those of you who are unsure about that, pick up the phone, give us a call, 833-308-5200. You can also scan the QR code, get a copy of Fiscal Health and Retirement Wealth. You can also visit retiremaryland.com.
Prashant, thank you so much. To the viewers at home, don't miss the opportunity to grab one of these amazing books, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth by Prashant. That number, 833-308-5200. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We look forward to seeing you back 1 week from today on Retire Smart Maryland. Take care.